Good evening, Percival community. This is Ryan Lilly, aka Pearlshine, and I am back today with another deck profile. I'm just going to warn you in advance, nobody asked for this. Not one person asked for this, but that is not going to stop me from showing off something that I like that is bad. And honestly, maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll like it. Who knows? Somebody might say, hey, you know what? That looks like a good idea. You know what? Maybe that even looks a little bit of fun. I'm going to play it. Anyway, I'm not wearing the Ruler School shirt today, so I can't do the plug. Sorry, Jeremy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm going to do the plug anyway. We got the Force of Will Ruler School Festival. Sorry, the Force of Will Festival, the second one. It's going to be coming up on November 5th and 6th in Kalamazoo, Michigan. If you have not already registered, please do go do that ASAP. I can't flash the logo, but you get the message. I'm going to put links down in the description for that so you guys can go find the pre-registration forms and all that good junk, and we'll hope to see you there. Maybe you'll be playing this list, maybe not. Maybe you'll be playing something good. Nonetheless, today we're going to be looking at uh, this Dragon Force. Dragon Force is my favorite band. Just going to throw this out here. I could not resist the name. We are talking today about, of course, Dragonflame, or the Order of Flame. This deck revolves around an imaginary number called Dragon Power. Of course, Dragonflame is your ruler. He's a high god. He has white, red, and blue colors, and he's a villain, so you can't have cards with tails in your deck or Magic Stone deck. When you play a Resonator spell on your turn, you can choose to order it by paying 0 for the Revolution order, and that makes the Resonator spell uncancelable. You can't respond to it. It just happens. That Resonator will come into the field as your J ruler, and you will put Order of Flame into your order area. When your order enters the order area, you will gain 5 dragon power. Again, this is the imaginary number that is relevant to the whole deck, so you will hear that a lot. Just keep track. Dragon power, it matters. Or in my case, Dragon Force. Um, the ordered card becomes a dragon. That is not particularly relevant. At least, no, it doesn't. That part doesn't really matter. And of course, you can call a Magic Stone without resting your J ruler, and it does not. And calling a Magic Stone doesn't cause this card to rest. So that's all well and good. He also has one more ability, Force Command Flame, which just triggers any Force Resonance Flame text in your deck. There is quite a bit of that, and we'll get into it. So first off, we got 4 copies of this Doji, mass-produced queen. She is a machine resonator, a 200 400 for a single red will, and she has quick cast and villains. Can't forget that. Anyway, when she enters the field, you get to search your deck for a dragon and put it into your graveyard. And if you do, you get to shuffle your deck. And if you revealed a dragon this way, Uh, she deals 500 damage plus an additional X hundred damage to your opponent, where X is the amount of life your opponent gained this turn, and they can't gain life until the end of the turn. So at the very least, if you encounter some kind of life gain shenanigans, you can just do this to burn them for 5, and they can't gain life. And if they have already gained life, they lose all that life again, which is it could be handy. But the part we care about here is searching out a dragon. You do want to use Doji, especially on your opponent's turn. You order at instant speed. You cast her. You choose to order her. She comes into the field as your J ruler, and she's got some additional text. So you can tap her or rest her and destroy target machine J/Resonator you control to draw 2 cards and discard a card. So just like Guinevere, except she destroys herself rather than banishes herself. And if she's ordered, you can put a dragon from your graveyard into your hand. This does not target, so you can add the one that you send. So we will get into some viable targets for that shortly. But Doji is very good. You want to cast her on your opponent's turn. The goal is order as often as possible in this deck to pump up those numbers. All right, next we're looking at 4 copies of Pharaoh's Sacred Vision. I don't know a lot of people on Chance Standby shenanigans, but I do know that Pharaoh's Sacred Vision is in color and editions are very popular right now. So, you come up against a Great Wall. I'm just going to order Pharaoh's Sacred Vision right fast, gain 5 dragon power, and then I'm just going to banish Pharaoh's Sacred Vision to blow up that wall. Fantastic. Playing 3 copies of that. And we have 3 copies of Percival the Charm Knight. Percival the Charm Knight is a 200/200 Knight of the Round Table for a single blue mana. When it enters the battlefield, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal a Regalia, which doesn't matter in this deck, or a chant, and from among the top 5, then put it into your hand. And then you put the rest on the bottom in any order, and you can banish it to foresee 1, which can be very nice. It lets you fix the top card of your deck. There are, I think, 12 or 13 targets for Percival in this deck. You don't have to get something every time. The important part is that it's cheap. You can order it on the first turn if absolutely necessary. And not only might it draw you a card or fix the top card of your deck, but you can banish it to just order again next turn. That's where Doji comes in. You order this on your turn, you call a stone, you banish it, you foresee 1. Your opponent's turn comes around, you can order a Doji because it's got quick cast. That's the general line of thought here. We're also playing 3 copies of Percival, Fascinated by the Holy Grail. This is another 200/200 Knight of the Round Table for a red mana this time. When it enters the field, you can look at the top 5, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, not look. Reveal. Your opponent gets to see these. And you can put a Regalia, which still doesn't matter, or a Fire Resonator with total cost 2 or less from among them into your hand. I'm pretty sure all but like 6 Resonators in the entire deck, like there's like 12 or 13 targets for this card as well. You pick a Fire Resonator with total cost 2 or less, and you put it into your hand. And then put the rest on the bottom in any order. And the last part of this is also the relevant part. You order this on your opponent's turn, or you order this on your turn. You call a Magic Stone, and then you banish it to deal 200 damage to your opponent. And guess what? You can order again on your opponent's turn. Just gotta have something with quick cast. Next, we're gonna move on to 4 copies of the Sealed One-Eyed Dragon. This is our first dragon in the list. Sealed One-Eyed Dragon is broken. I believe I have pointed this out already. It costs red and black. Will. It is a 7/7 dragon, and it's got precision and Bane. But that's not the part we really care about. The part we care about is the fact that you can pay 600 and discard it to deal 600 damage to literally anything, or pay 600 life and discard it to draw a card. Also very good. This is just Upstart Goblin from Yu-Gi-Oh! Pay 600, discard it, replace itself. It's amazing. And you can, when it's in your graveyard, you can pay a red and a black mana, and you can play it from your graveyard. And when you do that, it comes into the field and it has swiftness until the end of the turn. And then at the end of turn, you have to banish it. So it goes right back to the grave and you can do it again next turn. The only way you can activate this, though, is you have to make sure you've lost life this turn. So in any way, take damage. You could burn yourself with Percival. You can pay 600 to discard the dragon. That's losing life. You can. You'll see there's a magic stone that does this as well. You can play this dragon multiple times over the course of the game, so long as you're not dead. Because, life is a resource. Use it. The only life point that matters is the last one. Keep that in mind. Next, we're looking at 2 copies of Pangtong Awakening Phoenix. This card is fun. It's in here because it's fun. It's not in here because it's good. But don't get me wrong, if it works real good. It is a 600/600 beast resonator, not a phoenix or a bird for some reason, but a beast, and it costs 2 red mana. It has villains, of course. Got to keep that in mind. When it enters the field, you deal X hundred damage to each J/resonator your opponent controls, where X is your dragon power. There's that number again, that imaginary number, dragon power. Just for ordering once, you get 5 dragon power. If you order a second time, you have 10 dragon power at this point, And Pangtong is dealing 1,000 damage to each J/Resonator your opponent controls. It's not hitting yours, it's only hitting theirs. So that's a board wipe 9 times out of 10. And if you've ordered more than a couple of times, it's nuts. You're just dealing massive damage. You can also pay red to gain 5 dragon power and then deal 500 damage to each player. This also triggers your dragon, your sealed one-eyed dragon in the grave. You can play him. If you order Pangtong, this is where it gets funny. It gains flying. For some reason, it doesn't have flying unless it is ordered. And when it enters the field, it doubles your dragon power. So what you do is you, let's say, turn 1, you ordered a Percival, and you called a stone, or then you ordered Doji, I guess. I don't know. You ordered Doji, comes around to your turn, you call a second stone, and then you kill Doji with her own ability, and then you order Pangtong. What will happen here is you will have 2 triggers when it enters the field. Your order trigger to gain dragon power and Pangtong to double your dragon power. If you stack it so that your gaining dragon power will resolve first, putting you at 15 dragon power since you have now ordered 3 times. Pangtong will resolve and double that to 30. Then you can have it deal 3,000 damage to each J/Resonator your opponent controls. Um, that imaginary number can get real big real fast, and that is the point of this deck because trust me, when it gets big, it can do some things. That is what she said. I'm sorry for that one, Jesus. Uh, Next, we're playing 3 copies of the Mechanized Blade Dragon. This guy is in here for one reason and one reason only. He just says, hey, here's some free dragon power. Well, it's not free. You got to pay 1 for it, but who cares? He costs red 1. He's a dragon machine, and he's 1,800. He has flying, which might be relevant. When he enters the field, you gain 5 dragon power, and then target J/Resonator gains 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. That's pretty good. But the good part is this part. You can pay a red mana and discard him to put him from your graveyard into the field and then banish him. So you go, hey, he's in my hand. I'll pay 1. Oh, he's gone now. Oh, he's in the field. Ooh. Hey, I get some stuff. Now he's gone again. See, he goes from hand to grave to field back to grave all off of 1 mana. It's really screwy, but it does stuff. It does stuff, and it's fun. You're playing 3 of those because it's a 5 free dragon power, and honestly, a 1 will for a plus 1,000 attack is not nothing. Next, we're playing 2 copies of the funniest card in Dual Cluster, Tiger and Dragon, Giant Futuristic Weapon. This mother trucker is a beast dragon machine. It's so funny. It costs 6 mana, 3 red, and 3 colorless. It has villains. Got to keep that in mind. It's got villains. When it enters, it gains plus X100 plus X100, where X is your dragon power. Now keep this in mind. If your dragon power is 20 or more, you can pay 3 less to play this card. So let's say you did that Pangtong thing that I mentioned earlier, where you now have 30 dragon power. On your next turn, you can pay 3 will to play Tiger and Dragon, and he just casually has 3,000 attack and defense. It's pretty good. You can also just pay a red and discard him to deal X 100 damage to target J/Resonator, where X is your dragon power, and draw a card. So he can just be a copy of Thunder, except you can't target players with it. That's the sad part. He's got to be on the board. Now, if you order him, this is where he gets fun. He gets really fun here. So he gets flying and pierce. So now you've got this hypothetical 3,000 flying pierce beat stick. And he deals damage equal to his attack to your opponent. That's 3,000 damage directly to the face, or, whatever number your dragon power is. I guess at this point, if you did the Pangtong line, you had 30 dragon power, and then you order this guy after the fact, you're going to have 35 dragon power, 3,500 damage directly to your opponent's face just for ordering this guy. It can get pretty gross. Then we're going to move on. I have 3 copies of the best card from Dual Cluster, Conclave at Dragon Mountain. This costs a red mana. It's a chant, and it just says draw 3 cards. And then at the end of your turn, you have to discard 3 cards. This is literally Graceful Charity. It's an extremely banned card in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's already been combo banned with Zhuge Liang, Masterful Strategist, or Tactical Master Tactician. There's like 3 Zhuge Liangs now. I'm not really sure which one it is. The new one, the 1 mana one from Game of Gods Revolution. That one. It's been combo banned because, shocker, a card that says draw 3 cards and load your graveyard at the end of the turn is good. Yeah, it's in here. Oh, Zhuxiang Perfect Strategist. It's strategist English. It's right there in the flavor text. Gotta love the flavor text. Great view from up here. Anyway, moving on. We're gonna go next into 4 copies of Increased Dragon Power. That's gonna be my thumbnail. Increased Dragon Power. Anyway, um, this one costs red mana and 1, and it has quick cast. It also has this lovely text where if you have Force Resonance Flame, which is the only way you should be playing this card, it can't be canceled, and you get to draw a card. That's pretty good already. But it does this other thing where it says you gain 10 Dragon Power. That imaginary number gonna get real big. There's been several ways to make you got to pump those up. Those are rookie numbers. You got to get them just big number. Anyway, moving on. I will get carried away with that. Next, we're moving into 3 copies of. Let's say 3 or 4. I said 4 that last one. We're playing 3 copies of Dragonflame Enters the Game of Gods. This one costs a red mana and a colorless. And it has quick cast. You get to choose one. You target a J-size resonator your opponent controls. It loses all abilities, and then it takes X hundred damage, where X is your dragon power. There's that number again. The bigger it is, the more damage this does. And target J-size resonator. English. Or you can choose target J/resonator to gain plus X hundred until the end of the turn, where X is your dragon power. There's that number again. And if you have Force Resonance Flame, this costs 1 less to play, and you get to choose both modes. So for the low price of 1 red mana, you can be like, hey, I get a plus 3,000 buff to my guy, and your guy gets burned for 3,000, all for 1 mana. It's very good. Now we're moving into 2 copies of. Hold on 1 second. Need to. This has got a very wordy title. Hold on. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Flame. They could not have picked a more superfluous name for this card, but I love it. I love this card so much. It costs a red and a blue mana. It has quick cast, and it says gain 10 Dragon Power. You have no maximum hand size until the end of the game. It's pretty good. And if you have Force Resonance Flame, you get to draw X cards, where X is your Dragon Power divided by 10, rounded down. So this little line I described earlier, where you can use Pangtong to get to 30 Dragon Power, just play this. You go to 40 Dragon Power, then you get to draw 4 cards, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Do you need to be playing this card? Arguably, no. Is it fun? Yeah, it's fun, and that's why we're here. This is a children's card game. Now we're going to move into my most polarizing choice here for this deck, aside from playing the deck in the first place, and that's going to be 4 copies of Arena Expansion Valley of the Dragons. We are playing, let's see, a critical mass of dragons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're playing 9 dragons in this deck, 4 of which are heavily repeatable. When a Dragon J/Resonator enters the field under your control, it deals damage equal to its attack to your opponent, and you gain life equal to its defense. This is how you stay alive. This is also how you win games. You could realistically just never attack, and you could win games. It does have Force Resonance Flame, or you can pay 3 mana for it, a red, a white, and a blue. It's got Eternal, which is nice, so they can't destroy it, but Apollon can still banish it or exile it or whatever. But if you have 20 or more dragon power, this bad boy only costs 1 red mana. And this can happen, don't get me wrong. It can happen, but it's not likely. If you have 100 or more dragon power, when you play this card, you can put any number of resonators from your hand or graveyard into the field. So it's essentially just reads win the game at that point. So we're playing 4 copies of this. We're playing 4 copies of this because it's not mythic, so we can have multiples, and and each one of these will have its own separate trigger. So if I have 4 of these out, and I play that mechanized blade dragon for 1 mana, discard him, he comes into the field, he can target himself to give himself plus 1,000 attack. Then all of my additions will trigger, and my opponent will take 4,000 damage to the face. Actually, that would technically be 8,000 or possibly 4,000. I'm not sure if it goes off last known information or not. Anyway, they're taking a bunch of damage, and then you're going to gain like anywhere between 3,200 and 6,400 life, depending. But yeah, so you're playing multiple copies of this because it is good. It's a good card. It's a good card. Anyway, okay, so we're moving on. That's the main deck. Stone deck, you're playing 4 copies of Bataractia's Memoria. This card literally says rest to produce red, blue, or white. You are only going to keep your resonators ordered for 1 turn maximum, so it's going to always pretty much be the color that you need it to be. And if you're ever keeping your resonators ordered, that's probably because you're about to win the game and you needed to do something cheeky like get a buttload of dragon power immediately through like Pangtong or something. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Null Magic Stone. This Magic Stone literally says play One-Eyed Dragon again. You rest it, you make a red mana, you take 200 damage, and then guess what? You can use that red mana and a black from another Magic Stone to just bring out One-Eyed Dragon from the grave. Do you need to do this? No. Is this something that you can do? Yes. Also, in that situation, if you have out Valley of Dragons, you pay 200, or I'm sorry, you make a red mana with Null Magic Stone. You lose 200 life, or I'm sorry, it deals 200 damage to you. Sometimes that matters. Then so you pay 1 more and you play the dragon from the grave because you lost life this turn. Your arena or your arena expansion, the Valley of Dragons, will trigger. You'll deal 700 to your opponent's face. You'll gain 700 life. You just gained 500 life and burned your opponent for 700 and still have a flying swiftness precision Bane attacker for 2 mana. This is a very good combination. I like it a lot. Depending on whether or not this strategy ever has legs at any point in time. I am not saying it does now, but it could. I'm probably doing it wrong, who knows? But if it does ever have legs, this is a combo ban-worthy interaction. Next, we are going to look at Magic Stone of Heart's Core. We just have one of these. It is red or blue. You always want that red mana. And then you have another one, Magic Stone of Heat Ray, that is red-white. All right, now we're going to move into the side deck. Side deck is just a bunch of cards that say, hey, I don't like what you're doing, and I wish you would stop. We're playing 3 copies of Lumia, the Princess of Rebirth, or the Wings of Light and Darkness. Lumia lets you regain all the life that you lost this turn. And that's through any method, life loss, damage, or life payment. Your life literally just goes back to what it was before you lost it all. She's got quick cast too, so that's good. And you know what? You can order her. You shouldn't, but you could. And then if you play the other half of the card, Wings of Light and Darkness, you just get to remove a resonator with total cost 2 or less from the game. And you can choose to pay white as well, and also just put the Lumia half into the field after the fact. So you're playing 3 copies of this, because it is good. We're also playing 1 copy of Rogue Spectator. Fun fact, sometimes you're not going to open or draw Doji. This is a 1 mana quick cast guy that you can just play from the sideboard. He's just an extra card in your hand for emergencies. Doji already does the your opponent can't gain life crap. This guy does it too. He's just another copy of Doji, except he can't kill himself, and that's important. You may have to discard a dragon to blow him up. We're playing 1 copy of him. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Mechanized Fenrir. This card's very good. It says no. Okay, so it costs blue and 1. It's a 600 machine. Well, it's a beast machine. Sorry, I can't neglect that. And it's got villains. Gotta remember that. It's got villains. Whenever this card is destroyed, you get to search your deck for a machine, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. That's pretty good. You can kill him you can kill him by discarding a dragon. So if you have to order him, that's one way to to just kind of get rid of him so you can keep ramping up those numbers. You can play him from outside the game, but there's absolutely no way to reveal him from outside the game in this deck, so we're not going to worry about that. He has Revolution, so if he is ordered, he gains flying, and he just says, hey, non-machine things don't work anymore. Non-machine J/resonators your opponent controls lose all abilities. That includes their enter abilities, their continuous abilities, their activate abilities. This literally just says no. Keep in mind it only affects non-machines, and it will not affect abilities activating in the graveyard or in the hand or in the removed area or in the side deck. It only affects the ones in the field. If they do anything in the field, this card says no. So we're playing 3 copies of Mechanized Fenrir. Next, we're moving on. We're playing 3 copies of the best card in New Frontiers. Not New Frontiers, this Wanderer format. This is going to get hard. This is going to be hard to get used to. New Frontiers doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, playing 3 copies of this card. I've been over this before. You're pretty much always going to choose the first mode to prevent 1 cost or less resonators from being able to enter the field. They go straight to the bottom of their owner's deck. But you can also just use this to unorder Zeus or any of the other various order rulers you might encounter before they're able to call a stone with their ordered resonator, forcing them to tap their order so that they're not able to order every single turn like they kind of want to now. It seems to be the new meta for order rulers. Order every turn. Every turn is my turn. Anyway, we're playing 3 copies of that. We're playing 2 copies of Essence of Athena's Power because it's funny. Remove all cards in target player's graveyard from the game, or put all cards in target player's removed area into their graveyard. More often than not, this is going to screw over exactly Asuka. Because Asuka is... Let's just say Asuka likes to do things with the grave shenanigans, and everybody knows this. Zeus can also do some stuff with the grave, say Mikage Rea dump Darkness of Zeus to get that train rolling with the free spells. How about no? We'll just exile that for you now so that you can't use it later. Yeah. Anybody tries to interact with anything in the graveyard, exile it. Anybody tries to interact with anything in the exile, put it back in the grave. Put that thing back where it came from, more so help me. Anyway, playing 2 copies of this. The rest of the text after the fact where it says Force Resonance of Olympians, just ignore it. We're playing the wrong deck. Doesn't do anything. And last, we're playing a Flashing Smile. We are playing things that wipe the board already. This is one more card that does that thing. It wipes the board. Also, since you could just casually have no maximum hand size, this could do a lot of damage. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, anyway. For the low cost of white with quick cast, you can draw a card and then deal 300 damage times the number of cards in your hand to each J/resonator your opponent controls. And then the rest of the card doesn't matter because we're not playing Alice. So this says pay 2 mana, draw a card, and wipe your opponent's board. It's pretty good. So that is Dragonflame. Oh, Dragonflame. Anyway, I really like this deck. I hope you give it a try. If you don't, well, why did you watch my video? That's a question for you to answer. Anyway, if you did stick around through the whole thing, listening to me ramble, I really appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you want to see me do a particular card or a particular ruler as a build around for the next episode. Also, don't forget, I am working on a couple of other segments. We have Honesty Wednesdays, where you send me a deck list and I will review it honestly. And we also have the potential podcast style thing coming with my friend Toby and I, where we discuss cards from Force of Will's history, from all the way back in the day until current, discussing cards that are just not played, maybe why they're not played, and seeing if we can find them a purpose in today's metagame. With that being said, I wanted to apologize for not posting my video on Friday like I normally do. This was a very busy week at work for me last week and had to be a few days late. But don't worry, there will be another video on this Friday. You're getting 2 for 1 this week. Anyway, like I said, check the description for links to the Ruler School Force of Will Festival 2 happening on November 5th and 6th in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I hope to see you there. I will have links to the deck, or not the deck registration, the pre-registration for the event. And I'll also have links to this deck profile so that you can find it on forceofwind.online. I really appreciate y'all for hanging out. And until next time, I have been King Pearlshine. Thank you, and peace out.